The future of the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, goes before the Supreme Court next month. Today was center stage as senators questioned President Trump's latest Supreme Court nominee. Tonight, Congress, the court, a health care crisis, and the Americans caught in the middle.
In the creepy alleys with the There you go.
8-year-old Charlie Wood is on a mission. She and her mother, Rebecca, zipping up in head-to-toe hazmat suits, and they're heading towards the front of the Supreme Court.
So we're wearing the suits because a lot of the Republican senators are sloppy about COVID.
They're about to join her rally to fight, they say, for Charlie's life.
No confirmation until inauguration.
Charlie was born 14 weeks early, weighing just 1 pound and 12 ounces at birth. Rebecca says Charlie survived overwhelming odds with help from a hotly contested government program.
Without the ACA, she's uninsurable. Her birth is a pre-existing condition. She would have exceeded a lifetime cap before ever coming home from the NICU for the very first time. Fight, fight, fight!
The Woods joined dozens of others on the front steps of the Supreme Court, including Ana Maria Ochilla, the executive director for the Center for Popular Democracy.
People will be even worse off in the face of a global pandemic, in the face of any other health disaster. Communities of color in particular will be a lot worse off without access to health care that was afforded through the Affordable Care Act.
They're fighting to make their voices heard, to say no to Judge Amy Coney Barrett, the Supreme Court Justice nominee they fear will be President Trump's key to dismantling the Affordable Care Act.
It's barely sustainable as it is, and we're fighting for crumbs here.
The Affordable Care Act has taken center stage this week in the midst of this contentious Supreme Court nomination.
Washington Republicans have realized that the Affordable Care Act is working too well and helping too many people to repeal it without facing serious political consequences.
From my point of view, Obamacare has been a disaster for the state of South Carolina. All of you over there want to impose Obamacare on South Carolina. We don't want it. We want something better.
Healthcare has been front and center in this hearing. If Amy Coney Barrett is on that court, she'll rule on whether it survives, on whether the whole law is struck down along with all the protections for people with pre-existing conditions. So Democrats want to press her on it because President Trump has vowed to get rid of that law, and they want to know if she will do his bidding.
The Democrats used the hearings to double down on accusations that Barrett's nomination would end the ACA, leaving millions of Americans without health care as COVID-19 continues to spread across the nation.
Health care is a huge cost for families. Polls show that really, as the Obamacare, as the Affordable Care Act was being threatened with going away, its popularity went up. People have gotten used to it. They've come to rely on it. They don't want to change it without a plan for what's coming next. And the president and Republicans don't have one.
But Barrett repeatedly refused to give any indication of her position.
Have you committed to the president or anyone else that you will vote to repeal the Affordable Care Act if confirmed by to the court?
Absolutely not. I was never asked, and if I had been, that would have been a short conversation. I'm not willing to make a deal, not with the committee, not with the president, not with anyone. I'm independent. Nobody wants to live in accord with the law of Amy. I'm sure my children don't even want to do that.
Case Western Reserve University School of Law professor Jonathan Adler says Barrett was following the judicial process.
They can't answer questions about how they are going to rule in a future case. That would prejudice their ability to hear the issue impartially.
Her dedication to values has won over supporters like James DiPaolo in Florida. He hasn't been swayed by the Democratic questioning of the Supreme Court nominee.
I believe it's rhetoric, and that's fine. This is politics. Politics is about rhetoric. It's about if you don't want this person on the bench, you are going to use whatever rhetoric you think is going to get the job done.
The father of two and Catholic middle school teacher is an independent who voted for Trump in 2016, and he says the president's endorsement of Barrett has probably sealed his vote again. What is it about her that made you decide, okay, I can support Trump again?
I'm a practical Catholic. My faith is very important to me, and she is someone who has lived out those values, and she's a federal judge. I mean, that's not small time. She's a very intelligent woman. She really understands the law, and I believe she tries to come at every case with earnestness.
So what happened to gymnastics?
His biggest gripe with the Affordable Care Act, that the government required Americans to be insured.
The mandate was the biggest one for me. I think mandating citizens to do something. I don't like that as a citizen. I don't think it solved the problem. There are other options out there to help people.
The Affordable Care Act has been mired in controversy throughout its 10-year existence.
I like to call it the most resilient and most challenged statute in modern American history and perhaps all of American history. It has been to the Supreme Court coming on an unprecedented 7 times in 10 years. It has been the subject of challenges in more than 1,000 cases in the lower courts. Congress has tried to repeal it more than 70 times and failed. And this current administration has tried to sabotage it over and over again.
Yale Law and Medical School professor Abby Gluck has studied the ACA since its inception in 2010.
The Affordable Care Act is the most transformative and important health law passed by Congress since Medicare and Medicaid in 1965. It has brought health care to some 20 million new Americans. It has expanded Medicaid. It is not just a statute for the poor. The protections on lifetime caps, pre-existing conditions, quality insurance plans, eliminating copays and preventative care, those apply to all kinds of Americans. No one should think that they're not going to be touched by this.
Those who may be most affected by the fate of the ACA are people with pre-existing conditions. 15-year-old twins Maria and Evelyn Wiltrot live in Cambridge, Minnesota. They were diagnosed with diabetes at a young age. It's a condition they'll have to live with for the rest of their lives, and one that afflicts more than 30 million Americans nationwide.
We do have to watch what we eat a little bit. Like, we avoid soda and we avoid candy. Especially with sports, we have to watch our blood sugars so that we know if we're able to play. It's just a lot of work because you have to manage it all the time. It never goes away.
They rely on insulin doses to stay alive.
If I couldn't get the insulin I needed, my blood sugar would start to rise and would ultimately end in death if I did not get the insulin that I need for my body. A lot of the mental health that goes along with it, I've struggled with that. I can get really upset with it. It's really frustrating because I never feel normal.
Their treatment is covered by their parents' insurance.
The costs of treating diabetes have only gone up. Now, without insurance, the list price for insulin right now would be about $2,200 for 1 month of insulin for the 2 girls. Again, that's just the insulin. The thought of our children having to choose between food and insulin is terrifying because we know what happens when people don't have access to insulin. You and I make it on our own. Those 2 girls don't.
Sherry and Eric say the twins can remain covered until they're 26 years old, thanks in part to the Affordable Care Act, which they call their safety net.
Our girls both have big dreams for themselves. One wants to be a doctor, one wants to be a lawyer. They're going to be in school for a very, very long time. And they're going to need health coverage, and they're going to need our help to get through that period of their lives.
For us, the pre-existing conditions and finding affordable health care it's not a Democrat issue, it's not a Republican issue, it's a life issue. And it's important that all our politicians, locally, nationally, work together for the betterment of the country.
If confirmed, one of Barrett's first cases as a Supreme Court justice is California v. Texas. The heart of the case is whether or not the Affordable Care Act's individual mandate requiring all Americans to purchase health insurance is constitutional.
The Affordable Care Act was a piece of legislation that literally took up thousands of pages. And this lawsuit is going after 1 line or 2 lines in that massive piece of legislation. And so the real question before the court is, if you take that one part out, can you leave the rest of it standing? And I would expect the Supreme Court, even if it does strike down the mandate, to leave the vast majority of the Affordable Care Act in place.
But if the ACA is repealed, experts fear the lack of an alternative plan in place to protect the millions who would lose coverage.
The Republicans have said for the last 10 years that they're going to put an alternative in place, and it's going to be terrific. Well, we have yet to see what that alternative would be. The only thing that the president has said so far is that everyone supports pre-existing conditions, and that if the Affordable Care Act is struck down, he'll just order them to be reinstated. Well, sorry, but that's not legally permissible. That is required to be done by an act of Congress.
Fight, fight, fight!
It's those unknowns that have people protesting outside the Supreme Court.
Name confirmation before inauguration!
Insisting that Barrett's confirmation be held off until after the election. Any sooner, they say, would be a compromise on democracy.
What is immediately also at stake is progress we have made over generations. The fact that people have health care is not a given. It's the result of people struggling and bringing those demands to the court. I want to make sure that we have a court that people can trust, people can respect, because it is the place where we resolve big questions about how to advance our society in the direction of more justice, more inclusion, more dignity.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.